All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very momentous occasion here on Driving with Dave. It's our first interview with more than one guest, and we're joined by Nashville royalty, Bachelor in Paradise royalty, Bachelor in Bachelorette royalty. It's Christina Mandrell and Brayden Bowers.
Woo, quite the introduction there.
You guys have quite the pedigree. Speaking of pedigree, we're also joined, look at that, folks, by River. Hello, River. Now, I wanted to say our first dog in the car, but we have had my dog Boone sleeping in the back seat before, but your River's a little bit more pronounced there as he sits.
110 pounds.
So what's it like introducing some SoCal life into your Nashville world, Christina?
Well, you know, I lived in California actually when I was 14 to 16. I was kind of back and forth. So that was actually in LA though. So a little bit different, I guess, than San Diego. I feel like this guy here, he kind of fits in wherever he goes. He does have a
universal like tone to him. As far as, you know...
On Earth, just earthy. So,
yeah,
I mean,
earthy.
I think the bigger difference isn't going to be for me, but probably the whole weather situation. I felt so bad, but I can't do anything about it. Right when he got here, it was like snowstorm. What degree? It got like below...
It was -7 degrees.
Well, you guys moved here like a week before me, and I was like, oh, they're going to think I'm following them, I think.
No, you planned to come here first, to be fair. And I was asking what routes you're going to take and whatnot, because we did drive it. So from the Golden Wedding, we drove.
Went from the Golden Wedding. All right, so let's jump right into it. I mean, Bachelor life moves fast, but Christina Mandrell pulled a unique card, which is bypassing Paradise altogether and going straight for the guy. Who slid into whose DMs? How did this all start?
All right, you want to take it away, babe?
Yeah, so it actually started with her reaching out to me. It was she commented on like a post and ended up just like I liked the post. I didn't respond.
Yeah, what the hell?
She was kind of mad at me for that.
Oh, you gave her a stiff like?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like I didn't want to like.
Yeah, there were comments under it too, like Christina Mandrell's into the chat, like wait, perfect pairing, whatever. Like.
But that's Bachelor Nation's always going to see those things and assume the most, egregious.
Well, they were helping me out. They were being my wingman.
But was it like an introductory break the ice, or were you like
being hilarious?
Were you targeting? Were you like, this is my man now?
Well, no, because
really? Are you sure about that?
You sure about that?
Brayden, first of all, they'll never admit to it. My wife still doesn't admit that she was into me at all.
I just wanted a good friend, you know?
Yeah, they always want friends. But yeah, okay.
No, of course, I was very attracted to him, and then seeing him on Charity Season, I felt, he said one line in there that really just made like mic drop, my mouth opened, and I was just by myself watching, and he said the Avatar line of like, I see you, and I see that, and I say that all the time. I've always said that. I'm like, I understand that. I feel connected to Avatar, could connect our ponytails. And he said that, and I was just like, wait, this guy gets it. Like, I feel connected weirdly through this television. But I was really aware that was maybe not reciprocated. He doesn't know who I am, maybe.
Well, you know what's interesting is you both had soft villain vibes.
Yeah.
But I say soft villain because the show doesn't like humor. They want to make you funny, but they don't want you to be funny, is what I feel. So I feel like you both have great senses of humor that don't always play in the setting, in the canvas of what they're trying to do.
Right, and you don't realize that when it's happening too. I felt like I was being hilarious, and then for example, the football game, I didn't realize that, maybe the girls weren't loving me at the time, and I'm barking at them, and, the other team was yellow, and I was like...
Who doesn't want a friend to bark at them?
Yeah, I'm like, let's go. I'm like, we're popping implants today. And there's like, the team was yellow, and I was like, you used to be white until you peed on your uniforms because you're scared. And like, they're just looking at me.
Smack talk, by the way.
Thank you. I was just that was the best day of my life.
It's a weird scenario where you're trying to impress a guy, but you're also trying to live with the ladies. And unlike a normal sorority or fraternity vibe, there's only one option there, so everyone's laser focused, of course, which builds brilliant drama. Now, Brayden, did you watch her season? Did you know what Christina was all about?
Great question.
So I actually watched. It was funny. We just had this conversation the other day. I actually just watched it 2 nights ago, so I hadn't really watched her season.
Do you still like me?
I do still like you.
Okay, cool.
I hadn't really watched any Bachelor or Bachelorette. I had no idea what was going on when I was on the show. Everything was really new to me, and so it was just like my real life or real time reactions to everything.
Which is adorable when you're that naive and you go on the show and you're like, I don't get why people are mad at me, or because Brayden, I was like, you're villain proof. Same thing I said about, there was guys like Blake Moynes, there was guys like Greg Grippo where they tried to make a certain way. It's like, no, these are just lovely men that no matter what they try to do, you guys are fighting you into the limo and you're just like, nah man, not gonna mess with my vibes.
I was definitely in for a shock. I mean, it was like jumping in a pool of cold water. I had no idea really what I was getting myself into.
You probably wouldn't have changed much if you did know, though.
I honestly, I don't think I would, because even coming into Paradise, I don't think I really changed all that much. I think the environment changed around me, and so maybe I fit into that environment better. But yeah, I wasn't ready for what The Bachelorette was at the time.
Well, there's this old football saying, when you practice at half speed, you actually get more injured than if you go full speed. And it's sort of the same idea. If you aren't your authentic character, it's like, first of all, if you're your authentic character, they might not like you. But if you're not authentic, you're definitely gonna cause problems in one way or another.
And then it hurts more because you're like, well, I was trying to be liked and I'm still not liked, and now I'm not true to myself. And it's this whole confusing bundle of, I don't know. I didn't want to go any other way into it than being authentically me, which, we're here now. We're happy.
Of course, Brayden's season, he's throwing footballs or baseballs off people's faces. And
that was the worst. I was literally in the middle of telling a story about how my dad drilled me in the face with a baseball when I hit her in the head with a baseball.
Well, that was on charity, to be quite honest. I mean, what are you going to do? You seeded a nice pitch, and she, that's how it works sometimes.
I was trying to loft them up so softly, too, and it was just, there was nothing I could do there.
I mean, it's like, is it hard enough to try to have a conversation with somebody, and now you're doing it with cameras and you're throwing projectiles into the mix?
Oh my God.
And hey, peep the jersey here.
Yeah, there you go. San Diego Pride right there. All right, so strike one, Christina sends a message. She gets stiffed with a like. What's the next move? Because when that happens, you're like, well, I guess I'll go fuck myself now.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I was trying to take it as lightly as possible in my mind, because I'm like, okay, well, I don't blame him, I'm in Tennessee.
By the way, am I on a bike path, or is this
No, it's all good.
Okay, where are you taking me?
We're gonna
here?
go.
All right.
We're gonna kill you now.
I was gonna say, this is how it ends. This is how Driving with Dave ends. True villain status. We're gonna murder you.
Your bad putting two villains.
Finally, I'll go viral. They'll finally print an Us Weekly article about me.
Perfect.
Okay, so strike one, go fuck yourself. Then now what?
Okay, so actually it was two different videos that I commented on, and then likes. And then, this is actually sweet, but what I was going to say is, I'm in Tennessee, and I have a child, and, whatever. So I was like, okay, it's not me, it's not my character, I'm still funny and hilarious, and it's not that personal.
Which is the way you need to be as a woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not me. This guy's messed up.
He's actually not everything I thought, and he's the worst.
Usually, and this is what I hear from women, if the guy's not into you, you think he's got some emotional issues or he's gay. There's only two options why he couldn't be into Nashville's finest.
I know, right? I'm too humble.
But there is a lot going on, Brayden. I mean, you're just off the show. You're like, who's who?
And I mean, I was going through counseling at the time too. I was trying to do a lot of stuff just for myself, just because
post-show counseling.
Yeah, so I mean, I love, this is one thing I absolutely love about the show, is they offer you counseling after you get done with it. And so they give you free counseling, connections and stuff like that. You go through it, they pay for it, and you really get to sort out not only what you went through, but also things you want to work on.
And this is before Paradise or after?
I did my first session before Paradise, and then when I got back from Paradise, I ended up doing the rest of the sessions I have.
Now, before you continue, was most of the post-show trauma because of the reception from the audience, or what actually happened?
Well, no, I mean, I wasn't really too hurt by what the reception was with the audience. I don't mind being a villain. It was actually kind of fun for me. I felt like Batman. But no,
Who loves Batman?
Yeah, who doesn't love
That's
Batman?
fair.
But no, for me, it was mainly really wanting to get into a place where I needed to find out what I was doing wrong in relationships, because I felt like I kept doing things wrong. I mean, none of my relationships were successful. And so it was kind of just going back to the drawing board and really seeing what does it take to be in a relationship and being a healthy and successful one. And so that was a lot of what the counseling entailed. And then
how dare you try to evolve as a human? Right. We do not like that. That does not make good TV.
I think it was because he was getting the sense, not really post-show trauma, but post not messaging me back and just pressing like trauma.
Could have
People like
been.
feeling that karma.
Clearly. I mean, you send him to therapy on that one. Get some help and get back to me, guy.
Yeah.
Right? But I did end up responding to her, and I actually reached out, but it was just, she had a story that she posted of Blakely, like, cutting her Barbie's hair. And I was like, all I said was, please tell me you didn't let her cut her own hair. And that was kind of the start of it,
They
really.
were strategic about that, which was sweet.
Yeah,
He was waiting for it to be...
I knew she had a kiddo, and I wanted her to know, like, you know, I know you have a kiddo. I'm not really, you know, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't, like, you know, turn me away in any way. And so really wanted to get that point across. And so it was cool. It was a good kind of segue into, like, okay, now we can start talking because we've addressed this, you know, this thing and, you know, made you know that I'm comfortable with it.
Which is
It definitely made me I recognized that, and I really appreciate it.
I'll be honest. If I was flipping through Tinder and I just had somebody who had a child or didn't, I wouldn't pursue that relationship because I'm not where I need to be. How am I supposed to take care of somebody else? I don't even have a turtle. Whatever. I don't have anything. And so that's definitely maturity. Like, did you have to deal with guys that were like into you? Like, did you have to like drop the I'm a mom card?
Well, so that's the thing. I think with social media and any guys that I'd went on dates with, if you want to keep just looping around.
Do another loop, yeah.
It'd be this way. Sorry. Okay. But yeah, so with this day and age, with social media and whatnot, anyone I'm going on a date with or whatever knows that beforehand. So I didn't really ever have to deal with
what if you meet someone at a bar or something?
I feel like just here in Nashville, like, I'm from Nashville,
You're
too.
that big of a deal.
I'm a huge deal here. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, but I'm in a group of people, and it's just well known. And I think pretty early on, if you're flirting with someone or whatever, like, you're going to be, what's your Instagram or something like that. I mean, as far as my experience.
That's the way it works. Is like, let's get the basics out of the way. Is this thing compatible? So you go from texting on Instagram. How quick? I mean, what's the evolution? Voice notes to FaceTime to we should hang. Like, where do we go? Like, what was the catalyst that went from, hey, we know each other to we're flirting and this is something?
Well, this is funny. So we'll talk about this, but I actually heard you say something in your amazing, wonderful videos that you made about us. Thank you. About the Tenacious D reference.
Love
and you were like, I wonder if Christina actually likes them, if that was just like a move on her point. So actually, we messaged on Instagram for like a couple days, right? A day?
You kind of gave me your number that very day.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
like,
that's true.
So we were messaging, and then I went.
She tried to play it cool.
No, I meant like texting.
He's like, no, you just gave me the number right
so we
away.
went to-
I
went to
really
work that
did.
night.
I really did.
I went to work that night, and then she ended up texting me while I was at work, or DM me at work, and she's like, "Hey, here's my number," or like she just sent her number.
I said,
Message,
I
but
said,
there's
not
no
me unsolicitedly throwing my number at you.
Yeah,
And I did say that, but I meant we messaged for a couple days.
But
before we FaceTimed.
number is such a symbol because it's like, well, whether it's a number or social media, who cares, right? But it is that leftover
I don't know.
symbol.
I think it's
of like,
a whole step.
that number.
Right. And so I actually ended up FaceTiming her that night, and we literally FaceTimed for 4 hours.
Whoa.
We were up all night. I got off at like 11, and then all of a sudden it was 4 a.m. And I was like, oh shoot, I have to go to bed for work tomorrow.
That's when you know the convo's going well, when you're looking for like extension cords for your phone.
Right.
Yes.
Like, oh shoot,
At the
we're
time,
low
my
on
pops was
battery.
living with me, and so I was just in my car. I just stayed in my car, and I was FaceTiming her in my
I
car.
didn't realize
till 4
that,
a.m. And so I was just like, I knocked my seat back, and I just started talking to her, and it was just like, it was so easy to talk. And it was,
You're like convincing her, I don't live in my car.
I'm like,
it was-
yeah.
But
she's like,
I have a house. Come to see.
by the way, your dad's cool, man.
So
they came to my
cool.
stand-up show, and I was like, who's your friend? Like, this guy's young and
Yeah.
cool. What's the deal?
My dad literally is, he's not even, he's 20 years older than me, had me pretty young, and so we're hanging buddies, so we go out and do stuff all the time together. But yeah, so it was cool. So we started FaceTiming then, and then the next day, I think we started talking. I made a Tenacious D reference, and that was when she actually said, "Oh, I actually have tickets to Tenacious D."
Well, I was like, did you just make it?
Here's the thing with Tenacious D, right? And for people who don't know, first of all, Fuck Her Gently. Is that the name of the song? What the
That's
fuck?
One of the best.
I
One of the
have
favorites.
just died wanting to run into Jack Black,
Oh,
but
man.
it's not like saying, oh, I like Keith Urban, which is like, cool, we love Keith Urban, but like Tenacious D is a mood.
You're gonna find your people that way.
Yeah, it's like, and if you don't know, you can introduce them, but if you already do know, it's like, okay, we vetted you. You just passed 4 levels.
Yeah, like some of my girlfriends that I'm hanging out with, I'm not just gonna like pop it in the CD player and just get away with
Jack
it.
Black is such a nice guy. So many videos of him go viral of him singing Pick a Destiny or like, his School of Rock songs to like people when they meet him. I mean, he's a performer through and through. So I don't know if he's going to play at your wedding, but I vote for it.
I
Let's
vote-
go.
Actually, it was cool. We reached Tenacious D saw our engagement and saw us reference, and they're like, "Oh, we heard you Tenacious D fans," and like they sent us some like
They sent some merch.
So,
No
What was
way.
so funny, we so appreciated that. That was the coolest thing ever. But also, I had most of the merch already, so we just had duplicates.
You're like, I've got this size. Mine's faded. I'll
Yeah.
take yours.
I'm like,
All right, so
perfect.
you go. So immediately, we're talking fast tracked. We're
Oh,
talking know
well,
each other.
yeah.
Christina's throwing numbers at you. You would pick a Tenacious D reference.
Well, the concert was in less than a week. So I was like, well, if you really are a fan. He's like, no, like, you aren't a fan. I'm like, you aren't a fan. And if you really are, you can prove it. I have an extra ticket here, which I've never told you this, babe. You know what? Why I had 2 tickets? Which is funny because you were like, I wonder if she had 2 tickets. No. So this is would have been my sister and I's 4th time going. And I messaged her and I was like, hey, is there any way? She was like, yes. I was like, thank you. And so, because I had like surprised her with it, and she said that, yeah, thank you. So you're
Wow,
gonna have to
you
thank
repossessed a ticket. She's waiting at the arena for you still.
Mhm.
Ghosted sister. Hey, that's love though.
Sorry,
That
Vanessa.
is. All right,
she
so-
understood. She knew I wouldn't be
Thank you,
asking.
Vanessa.
So
just
does that mean
for anybody.
you had to fly out here for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got, and clearly there's a combo like, get a coach. What are we doing? And then, next thing you know, you guys are living together. So clearly, we don't need to get into the nitty gritty, but clearly things were fine
Yeah.
at the
I picked him up at the airport and I told him, I was like, look, I don't want to get in trouble. We're under like your, contract, and we're not trying to get in trouble for
Paradise
being.
hasn't even aired
Yeah,
yet.
Paradise
Hasn't
hasn't.
even aired yet.
Hasn't aired yet. So I was like, so I don't want to like pick you up in the line outside and like awkwardly side hug you, because I mean, who meets in a car? That's weird.
weird stuff.
Weird stuff. And so I was like, so I'm gonna come in, but we have to be discreet, okay? And I was like super serious about it.
And I gotta put this one in there too. So we had been talking, and she had been flirting with me on like on FaceTime and stuff, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I just want to give you a big kiss when I see you," right?
Oh god.
So we see each other at the airport. She's like all dressed up and cute, and I'm like, it's this amazing like romantic moment. I'm like, this is
You
awesome.
have to say how I was dressed up though.
Oh well, she was dressed up. She had like this
Mustache and
mustache
little
glasses,
huge
with a big old
ass
nose,
rose.
That's not discreet.
Not discreet. Not discreet.
And so I'm like, I go in, she takes him off, I give her a hug, and I go in to go give her a kiss because like she was like just telling me how she wanted me to kiss her in the airport kind of thing, and she turns away.
Did she gave you the
She gave me the head turn, and I was like, oh my bad, I'm so like, and here I am, I'm like, oh shoot, like I just made this whole thing awkward. I went in for the kiss.
Yeah, you're just like, is my flight refundable? Can I just turn right around in the turnstile?
I was like, should I just go back through
You
TSA?
weren't what I was expecting.
And so, and so I was like, oh, she thinks I'm ugly. Like this is bad. And then she looks at me, and then like a couple seconds go by, it's a little awkward, and then she goes and gives me the kiss, and I'm like, oh, so you wouldn't be the one. I see how this is. Like,
See,
That's
and in my
actually not
head,
bad.
the internal dialogue there was like, really, like right here, is this the moment? Because I loved what I saw, and I did feel like, okay, this is gonna be like a memorable like first kiss, could be the last first kiss ever. Like, do I want to do it right here in this airport? Right, and then I got in my head, I'm like, okay, if not right here, it's gonna be in the parking lot in a second, and that's less romantic for sure. So
Yeah.
okay, and that was in my head.
What terminal are we at here? Is this like a Southwest vibe or?
Definitely Spirit.
yeah,
So
was
Spirit
Alaskan
kiss.
Airlines.
Very nice. Alaskan's okay. Spirit.
Well, not now. That's the one with the door, right? The door.
Oh
was
yeah,
famous.
but I'd rather take a door going loose on Alaska
fair.
than roll the dice with Spirit.
I got my flight like last minute, so it was either pay $600.
No, I'm not judging.
I mean, hey, I was $600 for a Southwest or American, or $100, $150.
But women don't know how hard it is to initiate the kiss, because men, like my wife, the first time I tried to kiss her, you see, like if you go to kiss on an angle, they might turn away. I went dead on, and she backed up.
Oh,
She backed up like it was like the Matrix, like she
I'm
was
curious to
dodging a
know what
bullet.
her internal dialogue was there.
No idea. And then she had she did like the double chin, like what?
And then you're
And,
like, I don't want to kiss you now.
Now we're having a baby, so it's fine. But sometimes you
You
just
figured
gotta
it out.
go with your gut. But sometimes your
figured it
gut's like, all right, not yet, Dave. I was like, we were on a roof watching the sunset. I thought this was the moment. You don't do this with friends. What are we doing? All right, so concert goes well,
Yep.
and then you're back to long distance.
Right.
At what point did you nearly die? Is that after the concert?
That was literally 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks after the concert.
All right, so let's stick to the timeline. You
Yep.
go out
So-
fishing. I love this story. It's brought me to tears listening to it. but just give us the spark notes.
Basically, so me and Aaron, we'd been hanging out a lot since The Bachelorette, like since day one I got back. Aaron S. Yeah, I got off the show. I literally texted him as soon as I got off the show, and we started hanging out that very day. And we just became best buds. We'd go surfing all the time together, and I mean, we'd both been on boats before, both been deep sea fishing, and he was wanting to buy a boat. And so I went with him to Anaheim. We bought this boat together, or he bought this boat, but he said it was our boat, so it was like we bought it together, you know.
They really did. They went and searched at all of the boats throughout the, going to look at all of them.
I mean, this thing was gorgeous, man. I mean, it was completely redone. It had a new liner, new stringer in it. Like, it was just, the boat was beautiful. And so we got this boat. We took it out, made sure we did all the systems check. He got a 30-point inspection done. Everything was good with this boat. Nothing was wrong with it. We go out, and we spent time at the bait dock. Like, we made sure everything was tight. There was no water getting on the boat, right? We go out. We're out there for about 3 hours. And by the third hour, we're fishing kelp patties, going searching for Dorado. And all of a sudden, like, one of our buddies, Gavin, he tags a fish, and it starts, like, the line starts dragging. It starts getting dragged under the boat. And so the boat has an offboard engine. And offboard engines, you're supposed to be able to lift them up, and nothing's wrong with it, right? Aaron goes to lift the offboard engine to make sure that the line doesn't get tangled, because the line wasn't tangled or anything. It was just started getting drawn under the boat. And so as soon as he lifted the offboard engine and stepped onto the the swim deck, the boat just started taking on water. And within a matter of like a minute, the boat was completely underwater.
And that's got to be the fastest way to sink a boat, because it's kind of like you're just like scooping into it. It feels like versus like just a bubbling leak at the bottom or something.
It was. I mean, the other day I was watching the Meg, and like the way like that boat went down after the Meg hit it, like that's how it felt when
you're the Bachelor's Meg.
Yeah, I mean, and I had a full blown panic attack with my dad watching that movie back, because it was just like so similar to how it felt when we were out there. Because you're out there was nothing around you for miles and miles and miles, and it was just like. You just are like, holy crap, I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean.
Now, you guys have sort of first responder experience. Aaron's a firefighter, and you're a National Guard, correct?
Yeah, so I was Army. My dad was Army. My uncle was Orange County Sheriff, and then our buddy that was with us was also a firefighter.
And no offense to the Army, doesn't prepare you for a boat sinking right away.
The Army doesn't really deal too much with the ocean.
We're land guys. If the boat blew up on a desert, we would have known what to do. But,
yeah.
All right, so what's going on? You guys have life vests and all that?
So my dad was clutch. In that moment, like while the boat was going down, he went and he had grabbed life vests. He had grabbed, because he was the only one wearing a life vest, because he was our gaffer. So he's like the guy pulling the fish in the boat, like once we caught him or whatever. And we hadn't caught any, by the way. It was kind of a rough day. And when he went to go, when the boat was going down, he ran over to the cubby where the life vests were, grabbed him, just threw him off the boat, and threw an ice chest off the boat as well. And so when we were in the water, like he just grabbed all the life vests and we started putting them on. I had actually gotten wrapped up in the fishing line though, and so the fishing line had started, like as the boat sank, it started pulling me down to the bottom of the water. Like,
you got your designer jeans on still?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, like
who's trying to get rid of those?
I ditched him as soon as we got in the
It's
water.
funny though, Aaron did not.
I knew someone kept their clothes on.
Oh no, Aaron had his Viore jeans on, or his Viore pants on.
Oh, can we get a brand deal Viore? Come on.
Well, the igloo chest needs to.
I know, yeah. We named it Wilson. Put our hand on it. It was funny. Once we got saved, the boat, like the ice chest started floating off, and my uncle, like he's a comedian, he's funny. The boat was like, the ice chest was floating off, and he's like, Wilson, no, I'm sorry. And
the rescuers were like comedians as well. Everyone was just like it was great vibes for what had happened.
Can you even see anything on the horizon? Are you completely just bobbing in the water?
So where you're at, you can see the shore, not the shore, but you can see the mountains like of the main.
Gotcha.
So like we just kind of pointed in that direction and started kicking. And I mean, it was the scariest 3.5 hours, 4 hours of my life. I mean,
what were you more worried about, the cold waters or sharks? Like, what are you?
He was bleeding too from that fishing line being cut out.
Oh my gosh, there's blood involved.
He had scars on his arm from
Get out of here.
My dad had cut me free of the fishing line, so that was part of it.
Well, because let me just say, from an audience standpoint, we just see an article like so and so, their boat goes down. It's like, we're used to clickbait. We're like, all right, whatever. And then you start, what's her face? The reporters interviewing people, and I'm going like, God damn, this is a real deal.
Sarah,
No, it was the craziest thing, and I mean, by the grace of God, those guys were out there, and it was crazy when I talked to TJ and Chris is their names, but like when we were out there, like they actually they said they weren't planning on even going out that day. Mm-hmm. Like they were running late to dropping their kids off at school. Like, I mean, it was kind of a perfect time, perfect place moment, and like they ended up just seeing us bobbing up and down the water because we had that ice chest. Like I mean, it was a 4 to 5 foot wind swell. So I mean, you can't see our heads or our life vests. Like, we are underwater essentially, most of our body except for our head, because that's all the life vest was really keeping up. So the only thing floating on top was that ice chest that my dad decided to throw off, and they just saw a reflection of that ice chest and came over to see what it was and found us just floating there, and we're like, hey, can we get a ride? And so,
And were you like freaking out by that point? Because you could easily go several days without people seeing you out there. If you're not.
Well, they were
honestly, you're
starting to get
probably not going to
hypothermia.
last. Yeah, you're probably not going to last several days out there because the water's so cold.
Well, when I saw Joey's, just the latest episode of The Bachelor, they went surfing with full body wetsuits. I don't think people realize SoCal is ice cold water.
Yeah.
No,
Ice cold.
It was about like 65, like in the water.
Yeah.
So I mean, your body temperature, you run at 98, like you're
And
losing.
overnight, it's not going to be
Yeah.
fun.
Oh my gosh, that was the fear. Is it was just like, we don't make it by nighttime, and we weren't gonna make it by nighttime. We probably would have all died. I mean, it was we had recognized that, but I think what was amazing about it is it was the group of people we had out there. It was just, we were cracking jokes. I mean, I wish we had audio or like what was going on in our conversations, because they were just, it was the most ridiculous conversations like you could ever have. And so
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? You just shoot the shit. So no cell phones or...
So Aaron did have a cell phone originally, but it didn't work. And it was kind of crazy because when the boat originally went down, he had signal for 2 seconds and he went to call his dad, but his phone had gotten waterlogged. And so like it showed like the seconds, like, going away, like 1, 2, 3, like his dad had picked up. And there was just like, he was like, Dad, I sank my boat. Like, I need you to call it, because we weren't able to get a mayday or a distress call out at all. And like, I mean, that was probably the worst thing of it all. Like, that was
so
probably
what
the
came
worst part.
faster, the fishermen seeing you, or at any point were people starting to get worried back at home? Or because it's like 4 hours isn't that long to like start to wonder where anyone is.
Exactly. Well, if our relationship was so new, or else,
If
I
she's
would've.
she's liking your photos. He's not responding to
Why
me.
is he's not even liking them back anymore?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, there wasn't really, no one really had any idea what was going
We
on.
brought you here actually to the boats.
Yeah,
so you can
not to
just-
trigger you, but let's go for another
Let's start shaking.
redemption here.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was just, no one really knew what was going on. I mean, we probably would have been dead before anyone realized we were gone.
No, and that's not
And you
hyperbole.
had told the wrong place. So even like your Aunt
yeah.
JoJo, like, so his uncle was there, and Aunt JoJo would have recognized that you guys weren't coming home, but you guys told her a different place that you guys
We
changed
ended-
last minute
Yeah,
to where you were gonna be.
Crazy different story would have been told if you didn't have this miracle happen.
But honestly, though, that miracle kind of led to this miracle of just getting
Me.
Christina. 'Cause it was
Yeah.
Back to me.
it
I was gonna say
was-
going on driving with Dave. I don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
this is the
this
miracle.
is
Boys
the
can
moment.
dream.
But I mean, honestly, it was.
Yeah. What's your first call? Like, how does that? Like, what's the post? You dry off, then.
Well, she was my first call. So we got back to the docks, and we had Gavin's wife, Maddie. She ended up picking us up and taking me and my dad back to my apartment to get my car, my spare keys, and then like my dad had another phone. And so as soon as we got that other phone, like I'd reached out to Christina on my dad's Instagram, and I was like, "Hey, this is Brayden." I was hoping that she would like not like ignore the text. I was like, "Hey, this is Brayden. Like, I just had this crazy experience. Please call me." Like, and I gave her the number of the phone. So
And by the way, guys are used to exaggerating. Oh, it was wild, So like, I wonder if, like, how do you even communicate? Like, hey,
I don't
I
know, I feel
almost
like-
died. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I get the whole, like, yeah, I feel like both him and I underplay things so much that I was just like, I did not, I took it very seriously, and I was almost telling him to take it more seriously.
especially coming from a different number, I would say that's kind of.
Well, it was on the Instagram, and I happened to see his dad's message. I was probably just like refreshing, like, why is he not messaging me? No, I'm just kidding. Now I have his location.
Yeah. You're like, why are you hanging out in the kelp patty? Who are you with? What's going on?
Who is she?
but yeah, so that kind of led to me like reaching out to her and really asking her. That was when I asked her to be my girlfriend, and it was 9/18 is when I finally asked her to be my girlfriend, and I was just like, hey, like this put a lot of things into perspective for me, and I like life is short. I mean, you could die tomorrow in a boating incident, and you can't do anything about it. So why waste time anymore? Like, because one of the biggest things I feel like we do is we follow these social norms of, okay, we should be boyfriend girlfriend for this long, or we should talk for this long, or we need to do this for this long before we really take that next step, to make sure we don't have any doubts, And I think it was just in that moment, I was like, I love this girl. I never told her I love her, and I am about to die right now, and I never said it. And so that was probably the biggest wake up call for me, that it's like, hey, like if you really love something, then you need to put yourself out there, be vulnerable, and not feel like you have to follow these timelines that people make up.
Yeah. Time is an illusion that we create to sort of contextualize what we're doing here on Earth. I said I love you to my wife way before she said it, and I was like, I'm not fucking around. I'm not going to do the when are we going to do this thing. Right. I know I love you.
But you were saying it because you meant it, not because you're expecting anything back.
Yeah. Like well, I was asking for a blowjob. So I love you. No. I was
she's pregnant.
Hey, what are you going to do? Life comes at you fast, right? Boy, that's the most expensive I love you I ever said. She is expensive these days, furniture prices. But yeah, so so you had obviously this traumatic experience, but on your end, how did you feel to him?
Okay, so this is actually, you're going to love this. On my end, I was super stressed that day because I had a parent-teacher conference for Blakely May. And so I was like, it's a new teacher this year, and I was going in, and he knew I was like, not really nervous, but just, it was a thing that was happening that day. So he had called me actually from the boat and said, hey, you're home, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, we're still on the boat, bye. And he had sent an edible arrangement like to me and Blakely with, chocolate fruits, just being like, good luck today and have fun. It was so sweet. And like, so if things would have been different and he didn't come back from that boat trip, that would have been the last thing, I thought, until a few days later, a package arrived, and he had forgot that he had sent this, but a package arrived. And he had sent me, you want to tell us?
A stand-up urinal for a female.
A female urinal.
I've seen these. Yeah, it's like a beer bong looking type of thing.
Right.
Sure.
Because I was like, she had peed in her car.
Hold on.
Stanley cup.
Okay.
This is love. Men show love through very practical gadgets.
Right, but let's just say, like, that just shows up, and I'm like, how do I even explain this? Like, the world doesn't even know we're, like, together. I can't make him look like this creep, but, like, at the same time...
If I would have died, it would have been
I guess I can
never
pee normal again. I just have to... This is his wish.
Change that. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, in my opinion, I think, like, changing the way a girl pees for the rest of her life. I mean, you had an impact.
On life, you did it.
So how long from there did you start to make the plans to live together?
I mean, as soon as we were boyfriend, girlfriend.
I came to visit him right because all that was happening. And I'm like, I don't even care if you're working or whatever. Like, I don't care. I'm going to get an Airbnb. If you can see me, great. Like, but like, I feel like you need to process this and like cry with me, be with me, like whatever you need. Like, I want to show you, like, I want to be there, like, for me selfishly, and I think I could help you as well. And so with his family, because his dad and uncle were there on the boat as well, so going to see them was a really emotional time for the entire family. So I really bonded with them too.
Was that the first time you met them?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I had been if I had gone out there, they'd even ask like, oh, we want to meet her, and we could only go for a couple days at a time because we were trying to like navigate through both of our schedules with work. And he was like, well, maybe, but to be honest, like, I don't really want to share her. Like, I'd love for you to meet her, but not this time that she can only come for 2 days. And we were already planning trips, but this one we're like, no, we're going to meet the family. And it was really
how exciting,
special.
Amazing. And I mean, from there we just hit the fast track, really.
Well, he's a nurse, so he has to renew. A traveling nurse, you have to renew the contract. So it was like, all right, this is coming up, and if I renew, I'm here for 6 months. We were like, no, F that. Like,
and so I ended up I transferred my license to Tennessee and started planning to move to come out here. We ended up getting the invite to the Golden Wedding.
But let me tell you something. I've already loved your story. I've already known your story because I follow these things closely. I was watching Golden Bachelor on a slight delay, and I was so upset that I saw some tweets.
Oh no!
And I did, but I was like, I didn't
see it.
I was like, honey, because my wife's like, she'll watch when I'm like, you got to watch this. I like screen everything for her because she's kind of like, whatever. And I was like, you got to watch this, and then we watched it together. But tell us the game plan, the thought process behind this.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to propose to her before I came out. I mean, that was one of the biggest things for me. I was in this mindset where I'm like, not only do I love her, not only do I have no doubts and I'm sure that I want to marry her, but I also want to set a good example for her daughter too, you know what I mean? And like show her daughter like the type of love that she deserves as well. Because I mean, you got little eyes watching you. And so, I mean, those two factors were big ones. And at the time, I mean, my car I needed to get a new car before driving out here. Because like my car it had been like 6 years. I had 200,000 miles on it. I did home health hospice for over a year. So a lot of driving. And so I went and I had to buy a new truck. And so as far as like getting a ring and stuff like that, it was I was price shopping. I was looking. I was like, can I make an engagement ring? Like I was going through all these things.
Yeah, you're whittling together some earrings.
Yeah, right. And so I had been talking to the show, and I was like, yeah, like they were just asking me because we were supposed to just do an update on me moving out to Tennessee, and I was telling them, yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh, like they were gonna do like a post Paradise update.
Yeah, they were just gonna go over how like I was planning on moving out there with her and stuff like that, and I just kind of told them, I was like, yeah, like I'm moving out there. I was like, I'm actually gonna be planning on proposing her to her this year. And they were just like, they're like, what? They're like, really? And they're like, and it was so funny in the conversation because they're like, you have grown so much since the first time we met you on The Bachelorette.
Do they have like a bat line they call it? They just like break glass and then like Neil Lane's on the other end?
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what it
Basically, actually, yes.
God bless them.
It felt like, because
luckily the demand's not too high for weddings at this hour in the Bachelor world.
They were like, let's make this happen. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, let's make this happen. I'm like, well, would it be okay with Gary and Teresa? That was like my first question I had, and they're like, I don't think that they would have any issue with it. But again, for me, I wanted to make sure because I don't want to. That was the biggest thing for me. I know a lot of people say it's faux pas and like don't do it.
But people try to relate it to a normal wedding.
Yeah,
Gary and Teresa get a free wedding. It's but the producer. It's like, you know what I mean. It's like so, they understand who's paying the bills.
Gary also like they're friends. They've been friends for a while. He was one of the first people that knew that we were together.
Oh,
yeah,
how
I had
sweet.
told Gary at the premiere of The Bachelor in Paradise and The Golden Bachelor that I actually had me and Christina were girlfriend boyfriend, and so he was
they
like the first
text all the
person
time and talk.
A lot of things on the show. It's easy when you can see if something's staged, but you looked shocked.
Oh, you can tell. Like anyone that knows me, you could see in my eyes at first. I'm like, what are you doing? Like I am not prepared for this. What are you doing right now? You're going off script.
I love everyone starts turning around one at a time, and I'm yelling at, go, get up. Ah!
Well, me too, like you said, I was kind of like a little bit, what'd you say, a soft villain. And so people start turning, I'm like, what did I do wrong? Everyone hates me.
She's like, it's The Bachelor all over again.
Most people want attention on their own terms, but it's like, I didn't plan this.
They called me a pain in the butt in the proposal too. It was great.
So how much advance notice did you have that this was going down?
Literally the day before is when we started planning this. I mean, it ended up being like a shotgun proposal, so to speak. I mean, it was pretty amazing how fast it got put together. I mean, I talked to her mom, and it was funny when I called her mom, I actually called the wrong person and like asked the wrong person to propose to their daughter.
They're like, wait, who is this?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, and so it was kind of a funny moment. It's kind of embarrassing.
They let him go on for 3 minutes.
Yeah, I literally went on for 3 minutes about how I love their daughter and like I have no doubts in my mind I wanted to marry her. And then I'm like, oh wait, wrong person.
So funny.
So, but I talked to her mom, talked to her dad, got approval from both of them.
That's scary, right?
Oh, it was. I mean, yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking to have those conversations.
Was it a quick yes from them, or were there any stipulations?
Yeah, no, I mean, her dad wants me to come out and visit him. I still haven't gotten to because we had really bad weather. The first week I came out here, I was supposed to go out there and visit, and then we haven't been able to match our schedules up really. But so that's the only thing is like wanting to go and
meet him in person.
Of course.
I've met her whole other family, but just her dad's the only one I haven't gotten. And so, so I mean, that's kind of how it all went down. And then she said yes, thank God, and made me sweat a little bit for it. But now here we are living together out here in Tennessee.
I mean, really though, if that goes sideways, I mean, it's going to go viral either way. It's going to go. It's like any like Jumbotron proposal. It's going viral either way.
Yeah.
But what a fantastic moment. And then, did it change anything in the relationship, or is it a formality for you guys? Like, what was the vibe? Like, Christina, does it feel different having that commitment, or what?
So I think that it's really nice, especially with, my daughter, Blakely, being in the house, like kind of setting that example. Like we were fine not having that, but to kind of show like, hey, he's not leaving as far as like parenting goes and whatnot. And I think it's kind of nice in that way. And yeah, I told him before, like, hey, if it ever comes to like proposing, like let's maybe go on a hike and find a rock and make a ring. I don't like care about bougie things like that or the ring, or I think that would be really sweet and special.
Really doesn't. I mean, even during the proposal, like she was like, it was funny trying to get her nails done was the hardest thing in the world. I mean, she's like, why do I have to get my nails done? You love the fact that like I don't need all this.
I was
crazy
missing
stuff.
3
I'm not high
acrylics.
maintenance, and I'm like, no, you need to get your nails done. Like, I was like,
but come on,
We're not
we can
going to do
hang
this
out.
disservice to old Gare Bear here
Yeah.
and have crusty
And
nails.
I was like, well, why don't you kind of like, just like, let's hang out. We have a hotel
she
room
tried
together.
seducing me, man. Like she literally was like, she's rubbing the bed.
We haven't
But
said
it
this.
looks-
You're getting the
She's
exclusive
like, the
here.
bed is so comfy looking. And she's
Rubbing it
like,
with my missing acrylics.
yeah, she's like rubbing the bed, trying to look all sexy. I'm like, I'm not touching you with those jank ass nails.
These ain't network nails.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And then in my head, my internal dialogue once again was like, wait, I think that he's testing me because, you know, this California guy coming to Nashville, like maybe he thinks that I can't handle a guy with nail polish. He needs this. I'm going to agree to the nails. Let's go. So I was just like, he picked it out and all this. I'm just like, for you, babe.
I was like, I want to get a manicure. I'm going to get it one by myself.
Well, because I mean, they need you need the close-up shot.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a big deal.
Oh
here.
no, I would have been not as ecstatic.
So
about it.
normally-
I've been like, here's my ring.
In today's world, you're influencers. You guys know how it works. You know, you propose and then you kind of like tell your close friend. And normally, you tell your close friends. You work on the big announcement post. This is like it's out.
Dude, it's out. It's out. We FaceTimed Blakely, and then I threw my phone. I'm like, I am not touching that
Oh,
thing.
she did not touch it for
I'm
like
not
a couple
I know
days.
people
I was
were worried.
scared
They were
of
like, we
it.
haven't heard from her. There's been no, and of course, I'm the psycho who's like making hourly content. I'm like, we don't have an update, and then you post, we've got an update. We're still good. You
I
know?
love that. No, so we took a few photos, and there's actually still some missing footage. That I don't remember who took the video. I thought it was Charity, but it's not on her phone. Someone took a video of us dancing on the dance floor where he's on my back, and then Wells is on someone's shoulders. And it's like, I've been waiting to put this whole big video from all the content. I'm missing that one video. I need to just post it anyways. But I was like, there's so much to gather, and I didn't have my phone. And, you know, this is a huge, huge, huge experience that everything is happening right now. Like, I don't need to have my face in my phone, and there's
Like
plenty of pictures.
someone's gonna get the shot.
Right.
Now Wells predicted this with you, right, Brayden? Didn't he tell you
Yeah.
get out of here and go get a Southern lady?
It was funny because I was like, I had that clip because I remember him saying that in Paradise. He's like, go get yourself a Southern Belle. And I was like, he told me that. Like, that was like, that's wild.
For them to
And so-
put it in the footage too. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it was kind of perfect. I was like, wow, I mean, he's a psychic. So if you need relationship advice
Wells
or
Adams.
got any
I
questions.
was gonna say, what's the Bachelor community like? We'll park here and just finish in a minute or two.
Yeah.
What's the Bachelor community like here in Nashville? We have Wells here, and then a few others. There's
Yeah, Caitlin.
Caitlin, of course.
I saw you just met up with Mercedes.
Yeah, she did
she's
last
moving
episode.
though, but her and I've gone out a few times. It's always so much fun.
She's so sweet.
She is.
So many sweet people here. So
Mainly us.
you
the
tell me
sweetest.
well, of course. But you tell me if this needs to be cut out. But I hear you're a celebrity, Brayden, in the penile world. Is this
the penile.
the prisons?
Oh,
my
I thought you were
gosh.
talking about something
I was like,
else.
penile.
I was like, is that even the right word? I don't know.
I was like,
Is
did
it-
my? I mean, yeah. I
No
was like-
comments.
I
Yes,
was
he
like,
is.
I was like,
in
did my
both.
penis get out? I was like, what?
I thought Drake just that whole leak thing. Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, my heart started beating. I was like, oh no, babe, what'd you post?
That's a separate
I
episode.
accidentally sent him a different picture on accident. I'm just
no,
kidding.
Yeah, that's how Brayden and I met. We
No,
got
this is-
the full package.
I got a travel nursing job. Like the nursing job I got out here was actually at the men's prison. It's like the maximum security, like death row prison out here. And so I'm walking into the unit, like it's a death row inmates with like guys that are like, I mean, they're serial killers. These guys
Yeah.
are like, I mean, done crazy stuff. And I'm walking in and I go pass meds at all the cells. And one of them just shouts out, "Hey, that's the mother effer from The Bachelor." And then all of a sudden, like the whole pod, like the whole cell, just like everyone starts going out, like, "Oh shit! Like this is the guy from The Bachelor!" And they're like, "No, he's not. He's not wearing his earrings because you can't wear earrings in the prison." And they're
Yeah,
like,
you might shank
"No,
someone.
that's him. I swear." And they start asking me all these questions. They're like, "Dude, you look like a bitch when you cried." Like they're going off on me, and I'm like, and then they're like, "But then you brought it back, man. And now you got a fine ass girl." And like they were just going crazy.
But that's the thing, like, it's no surprise, you know, if they can only watch several shows, that there's a show like The Bachelor, because it's one of the shows that covers society, you know, dating, relationships, love, drama, and when you're probably in a close setting like that, you probably crave feeling like you're part of one of these communities.
Oh, definitely. I mean, and so it was kind of a trip for me because it was like, you know, most of the time, like I went in there without my last name on, or without, because you go into the cells, you don't really want them to know your name or your last name, because I mean,
these guys still have connections. I mean, these guys are still like, you know, big deals in, you know, whatever areas they came from. And I was just like, okay, I don't want these guys to know who I am.
This is like a big, like, death row prison. Like, this is serious. It's not.
Yeah, like, it's not like
I assumed you were, like, at first I was like, oh, Brayden's a bodyguard just because you're a big guy. And I was like, no, that's not it. Like, so you're doing, like, medical stuff?
Yeah, so, I mean, we had a guy come in. We had one guy that OD'd a couple weeks ago. We've had guys that, like, you know, get beat up. Like, I mean, I had this one guy, he came in when his face looked like he got stung like a cartoon character. They got stung by, like, a whole bunch of bees. And,
oh, my gosh.
You moving around too much, Riv?
I'll get you out of here in a second, River.
You do great, buddy. But, yeah, no, I mean...
Well, that one guy, too, right before you had gotten there, kind of cut off his penile as well.
There was one guy that cut off his penile.
That's probably the safest thing you can do.
Threw it at the guard through the...
No, he like told the warden, he's like suck my, and he threw it through the pie flap.
My.
I mean, it's a different world, man.
I know.
I mean, it's like prison. Working as a prison nurse is a totally different world than I've ever been. Like
before that, he's at the psych ward. Though.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of crazy different types of.
So being a stepdad is easy peasy.
Well, and being with me.
I don't know about that.
He's like, I'm dealing with psych ward in prison guys throwing genitals at each other, but Christina's a lot.
Yeah,
that's literally yes.
Honestly, I'm dealing with a psych ward right here, and then I got a little prisoner. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You know,
hey, it all.
That's gonna be that's the title.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a big fan of long engagements. Mine was long. I proposed right before the pandemic, so we took a bit.
Nice.
But because I hate this question, but do you have a date? Are you thinking, like, what do you guys, what's your plan?
So
we had a serious sit down talk. So I actually, like, before the pandemic, this was my main gig was wedding planning, and I have a party planning company and did engagements, and so I know the whole wedding, how the weddings work, and I never imagined myself having a big wedding, but you kind of did, and so I'm so down for that. And so we sat down. I'm like, what are we thinking here? And now the more and more that we start to try and plan, I think we might run away and just go get married.
I mean, yeah,
I'm telling you, it makes it look good. It makes it look good when you think of I have a great wedding planner in Tulum. If you do want something small, that's like all in one. Like you just you bring 30, 40 people and they take care of everything. That's what we did, and it's actually like you'd be surprised on the deal you can get. But if you do just go to elope, that's good too.
Honestly though, that's kind of what I think we're more wanting to lean towards, because originally we were making a list, and like our list got to I had like 140 people on my list.
Yeah, it starts. It's like Dave Neal.
It's like, how do you go? Well, of course. But I'll just be the chauffeur to get everyone there. But it's like, I mean, it's like, all right, well, that guy saved me from a boating accident. How do I say no?
Exactly.
No, and I mean, we just like the list kept going on.
And you guys are popular cats, so you're going to have a higher than normal acceptance rate, I would think.
Yeah, and
I would think you'd have a pretty.
But I mean, when we got down to it, finally, like at the end of the day, we just love each other. I mean, it's just, and that's kind of what it comes down to, and it's about wanting like the core people that have just been in our lives forever to be there, and just like have our community that we do every day with at our wedding. And so, I think we're leaning more towards like
next
doing a
year.
Small, like
though, for sure.
Don't let any pressure from outside forces get to you. You just take it on your own time.
Yeah.
Because marriage is the energy you bring together. It's not what a certificate says, or it's not what your friends think. It's what you guys bring to the table. River will be there. Look, hey, thank you guys so much.
Wait, 1 second. We got one thing for you. So,
oh boy,
you said something. You said, "Hey neighbors, when am I going to get my pie?"
Don't even start.
And so
I got a pregnant wife at home. Don't tease me.
Last night we did make you this pie.
Yeah,
we actually made it. Blakely helped. So
what is it?
It's a pie. That's all that we can promise.
It's like a chocolate
mud pie kind of deal.
Oh my god!
So it's just chocolate chips. There's pudding in there. It's like I was about to put coffee, but I was like, I know your wife's pregnant. We didn't want to do too much caffeine, so it was like, there's no coffee.
She's gonna flip her. She's gonna love this.
Yeah. So
guys, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I will return the Tupperware.
Yes. No, you're yes. For game night, we gotta get these weekly or monthly game nights.
We have chairs now. We have good game night chairs.
Oh shoot!
Nice.
Thanks again for blessing me with your story. I really mean it. You guys have got a special thing. I liked you both. Your characters and what you brought to the table as individuals, and I'm excited to see where y'all go.
Thank you.
Awesome. And anytime you just can't find someone for the week, we'll be here.
Yeah.
Pick us up.